she's right. I did say something like that. I can't remember the exact words.
She can.
Well, those X-rays were the last straw.
You damn fool!
Look, if you came down from the boardroom once in a while, you might have some idea about the lousy conditions we have to put up with.
Really?
The point is, did you mean to discharge Simpson?
Yes.
You meant to discharge your patient?
No, of course not. I was just being sarcastic. I was very angry.
The second point is, do you think he could have heard you?
I'm sure he didn't.
Are you?
Yes.
Because if the judge decides he could have heard, you'll be seen to have officially discharged your patient before finishing an examination. You don't need me to tell you the consequences of that. Barry, get a copy of the ground plan.
The irresponsible things to say.
I'll swear he couldn't have heard me.
Yes, you may have to.
Look, how is it I wasn't told about this before?
What, the remark?
Yes.
Well, I'd forgotten all about it. Well, so had Helen until they started to needle her.
Can you remember where you said it?
In the corridor.
Near Simpson's restroom?
No, moving away from it.
James, you better get this right. Point to where you think you said it.
Well, this is where Simpson was. About here.
How far is that? 5, 10 yards?
Oh, about 5 yards.
Was Simpson's door open?
No, I closed it after seeing him.
That's some time ago, you sure?
I'll never forget that day.
Barry, mark it. Now, here's a question you'll hear again before this day is over. How loud did you say it?
Well, not loud. I more or less murmured it to her.
How do you mean you'll hear it again?
Their counsel will move the earth to prove he yelled it out at the top of his voice for all the world to hear.
Now, just a minute. Can they call Warner back into the box?
No, but I'll have to, and they'll cross-examine.
Well, is that wise?
It depends on your definition of wise, Mr. Frost. If you don't mind losing £60,000, then no, it's not wise.
But supposing they prove that Simpson did hear?
Then you lose again. But I'll tell you this. If I don't recall Dr. Warner, we might as well pack up and go home now. It'll be a glaring admission on our part that he's to blame. Recalling him, we might just convince the judge that Warner's tale is the right one, that Simpson didn't hear the remark.
There is something you should bear in mind, Mr. Elliot, in view of the way this case is going.
What's that?
Well, the hospital is, as you're aware, situated in a mainly working-class area.
Yes.
Rudkin has a huge job persuading people to come to it voluntarily for treatments and check-up. Enormous. It's a constant uphill battle against inbuilt prejudice. That all we want to do is cut off their legs or steal their hearts.
What is your point, Mr. Frost?
Look, I'm not asking for a whitewash. You think I'm not aware of the lack of modern equipment, the badly needed coat of paint, the bigger grant from the authorities. We're not that Dickensian on the board, Mr. Elliot. I don't care what Dr. Warner thinks. My point simply is this. Putting Warner back into the box gives him a chance to clear himself, which is right if he's innocent. Putting him back shows that we're not admitting our guilt, which is also right. However, putting him back into the line of fire will make it certain that the deficiencies of Rudkin, or indeed any other hospital, will be publicised, suggesting that it isn't able to take good care of its patients. Consequently, there's a danger that no one will go to them. And that, Mr. Elliot, would be tragic. Well, think of all the people who might avoid cancer by a check-up now, who might arrest heart disease or rheumatism in its early stages. I beg you, Mr. Elliot, bear this well in mind. Be very careful.
That makes sense to you?
Yes, a lot.
2 things. When Fry cross-examines, 1, speak the truth, and 2, keep your temper.
I'll try.
Try hard. You start yelling in there, and your hospital not only loses £60,000, but you, my friend, you lose your career. Are we ready?
Silence in court.
Mr. Elliot.
Lord, I wish to recall Dr. Warner.
Dr. Warner, I must remind you that you are still under oath.
Sir.
Dr. Warner, on the board, the hospital ground plan. Now, you've indicated the room where Mr. Simpson was resting, and the place you say you murmured your remark to Nurse Dowling.
Yes.
I have 2 questions. Did you mean what you said about Mr. Simpson finding another hospital if he were to receive proper treatment?
Oh, of course not. I was being sarcastic at a particularly frustrating moment.
The second question, looking at the ground plan, do you consider Mr. Simpson could have heard what you said?
He could not.
Do you often get rattled, Doctor?
No.
Nurse Dowling said, Dr. Warner often gets impatient.
Well, I get annoyed when things let me down.
And when you get annoyed, you become sarcastic.
Sometimes.
You work in an area where a man or woman's existence often hangs in the balance.
If you like.
And with so much at stake, inefficiency can lead to tragic results.
Yes.
Let me put it this way. If I, as a barrister, make a mistake and lose a case, I can regret it and resolve to do better next time. If, however, you make a mistake, it could occur there will be no next time for you.
Perhaps.
Doctor, in a profession such as yours, I too would become furious if things went wrong to impede my work. I would become incensed with rage if I thought a life was being placed into jeopardy because of poor facilities.
Would you?
Wouldn't you? In fact, after the blown light bulbs, the malingerers, and on top of that the faulty x-rays, weren't you incensed with anger on the day in question?
Well, I was angry, yes.
And your impatience led perhaps to a tension between yourself and Nurse Dowling?
No.
But you were angry.
Yes.
When you were angry, did you shout?
No.
Yell?
No.
Scream out at the top of your voice?
No.
Don't you? Don't you? Oh, come, Doctor, you must. Everyone does. Why are you so different? Don't you, Dr.
No,
Warner?
I don't. I'm not so irresponsible as to shout in front of a patient who could misunderstand what I'm saying.
We now come to what to me is the most interesting part of your remark. Tell him to go and find a better equipped hospital if he wants to get properly treated. Dr. Warner, what exactly did you mean by better equipped? Is Rudkin Hospital so ill-prepared to help people who visit it for treatment?